All right, Shalom. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shema, Shabbat, Shema, Kakodash, double honor to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Achaemenid pushing the word of sincerity and the truth. Yeah, and this lesson is just gonna go into thinking steps ahead. Um, you got to get out that, of course, instinctive mindset, and that goes for, of course, first and foremost myself. Scriptures speak about how the Spirit speaketh expressly. You know, and in this world, you weren't bred to think steps ahead of the curve, so to speak. You know, everybody, for the most part, were bred to think instinctively or impulsively. You want something, get it now. You know, by any means necessary. Don't take a step back. Don't breathe. Don't come up with a peculiar or particular strategy and actually see if it's actually it's going to be an asset or a liability. Just get it because that's what your impulse, which is the lust of the flesh tells you. You know, and with the truth, it's a whole nother dynamic. It's a whole nother mindset of thinking, and you have to use sheer brain power in the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah. This is a mental war. And in everything you do, you have to deal with an extreme amount of balance. Balance is your best friend in this truth, and you can never get enough of it. And the more that you actually get better with balance, the more things fall on your plate. Because you grow, and as your growth develops, it more is required from you. Your rank, so to speak, or your level as a man of the Lord starts to upgrade, and you start to see that you could carry a whole nother boatload, so to speak. You can actually you know basically hold down a higher capacity. Of basically dependency, so to speak, whether it's actual dependency or whether it's things in the spirit that you could actually take care of. And one of the main things when you're going through the dilemma, so to speak, between the world and the spirit. You have all kind of things that's constantly being thrown or hurtled at you, and you have to think steps ahead. That's why I have this definition right here of a technique. Everything you have to deal with has to be in a proper technique, a proper layout, and strategically thought, planned or thought out before action is pursued. And this is the definition of technique. Technique is technical terms, details, and methods, technology. And the definition goes back to the Greek word technikos, from techne, which is art. The noun dates from the 19th century, right? And the word art goes into the word artifice, which means to craft or develop. And you have a particular level of craft within your spirit. It's either do with art or an art. You're your first craftsman. That's why the scriptures tells you in Proverbs how even wisdom is known as a painting. It says uh, fine words are like pictures of apples of gold and pictures of silver. That's a peculiar, and it's a beautiful art. And the words are how you actually craft, and however you put them together through your specific technique. You know, um, and that's just one aspect. But you have to use technique with everything in your day to day. In your daily life. Through the spirit and power of your Yahweh Shema Shai. Through your growth. If you see that it's certain spirits that's jumping on you, then it takes a technique to get it off. It's not just you know uh, a simple commanding a demon to leave. You start to see that those methods don't work because as you grow, opposition grows amongst you, and the level of strategy and the level of technique that you actually that you use has to be modified. Through different techniques. Different thought out plans to overcome whatever you're going through. If it's a certain demon that doesn't get off by general command, then you might have to deal with full reliance of a brethren. You know, you have to think certain things out. You know, and it all depends on the type of spirit that may jump on you. You know, or jump on whether it's a vessel around you, and how to overcome it. Because all things aren't overcome the same way. It takes peculiar and special techniques, special. Really, it's like powers, man. You know, it's like it takes a certain special power in order to overcome that certain spirit. You know, and it all deals with the mindset, and it deals with peculiar strategy. And like I said, that's why you have to always step back and take a breather. If you are a brother that everything you deal with impulsively, you have to definitely step back. You know, you have to think um, think out your decisions. Which the word decision, when you look it up, it means to cut out. D is to take away, and I think scission is the sever. You cut out bad decisions, or you cut out things that might particularly get you in a bad case scenario, and you weigh the worst case scenario. You weigh all your options, your best results. You know, you weigh the whole scheme, and you boil it down to the most potent matter, and then you go with that method. You know, the apostles years ago, they did a lesson on Occam's theory, you know, or Occam's razor, and it's a philosophical razor that Occam went by, and he went by the simplest stage, you know, because simplicity is an art in itself. You know, you see basketball players or football players, and they just use the basic fundamentals to win games, and they have enhanced those fundamentals so great that they don't have to be all flashy. You know, they're just so good at what they do because they have repetitiously done the fundamentals over and over and over again. It's been so monotonous, so to speak. You know, some people think it's a bore, but guess what? It puts the points on the board, and that's all that matters. You want to see the points being leveled up on the board. All right. So I just went through this term technique, and I also want to go through the word stratagem, because this is definitely you know, spiritual chess. You know, and we all of us brethren, we're in a particular, we're growing into a particular generalship. You know, when you read about Moses in the if I'm not mistaken, it's the book of Numbers, you read about Jethro. You know, or it was Exodus, if I'm not mistaken. But Jethro told Moses to establish captains of hundreds, captains of 50s, 20s, 10s, so on and so forth. And those captains were assigned to have strategies to deal with the nation of Israel. You know, checks and balances, proper ways to go up the you know, the ladder on dealing with issues and things of that nature. Now, if you're a brother that's in the spirit too, you know, you have a family, you have children, you have your own personal life that you're living, and it's a lot of things that are hurtled at you. But it's for you to use stratagem, and this is the word under stratagem. It says a plan or scheme, especially one used to outwit an opponent or achieve an end. Right. So this truth is about being witty. You know, which the word witty can go into being wise, and you want to outwit the master serpent, which is the so-called white man. All right, because the so-called white man masters the art of psychology, sociology, anthropology, behavior, you know, behavior psychology. He knows what you're gonna think before you think it. He knows whenever you get paid what your impulse is gonna tell you, and it's all about for you to map out, you know, what you're gonna do properly and stop dealing off of just pure lust, because everything you do reflects character. You know, that's where the term characteristic comes in. You know, and everything you do shows the level of balance that you actually have in your life. You know, that's where discipline comes in. You know, you might desire certain things, but you know how to hold yourself back. You know how to hold yourself back and discipline yourself to study, to fast, to pray more, to you know, write down certain goals that you need to accomplish, to make sure that you're all the way on point. You know, you don't want to be a brother that's just all over the place, because that all over the place mentality gets you nowhere. You know, a brother that's mainly all over the place, you see that he doesn't get anything done. He's like Scripture says, ever learning is not able to come into the knowledge of Yahweh Shema Shah. So this is the synonyms: plan, scheme, tactic, maneuver. You know, this truth is about maneuverability. Yahweh Shah said to be wise as serpent. Serpents are known to maneuver very, very well and slide through their environment unscathed and undetected. And that that speaks volume too. You know, you might be in danger zones, man. You might be in certain areas, whether you're doing Uber or Lyft, and you might be in the cusp of the hood, man. And it's all about what stratagem that you utilize to maneuver through that situation. Sometimes you got to play a certain role. You know, speak the lingo of Jake. Paul said it best that he became all things to all men. You know, knowing how to be undetected. You know, sometimes you just gotta play it cool, man. So it says move, course, line of action, ploy, gambit, device, so on and so forth. And the word stratagem in its purest essence goes back to the Greek stratagema, or stratagem, to be a general, from stratos, army, to lead, agent, to lead an army. And this is the army of the Lord. It tells you that in Ezekiel the 36th chapter, if I'm not mistaken, where the valley of dry bones was raised up, and they became a great nation. And we are a part of that great army and that great nation. And it's all about for us to lead the nation. And in order to lead someone, you have to have a particular amount of leverage yourself, have the bar set for yourself on high, and reach that apex. And individuals will see the level that you've grown on, and they'll want to follow. You know, it's not just to say follow me, but it's about accomplishing those feats that the common man was not able to get through. And you getting through that finish line and always scaling back and going back to the basics for another man to grow, and basically have him level up on the level that you're at, man. You know, it's a each one teach one thing, and it's hand in hand. You know, they complement each other, components, and you compound them together, and you infuse them. Then that's where godliness comes in. That's where your virtue starts to to fully amplify, so to speak. So this is Wisdom of Solomon 1:19. Wisdom raineth down skill and knowledge of understanding, and exalted them to honor that hold her fast. Right. So it all starts from the wisdom, and wisdom is through the fear of the Lord. So if you fear it, you're gonna get wisdom. Through wisdom, you're gonna get skill and knowledge and understanding. And the byproduct of all these aspects is exaltation, which it says to lead the army. You see, so if, like Scripture says, if your desire be thrones, then therefore seek wisdom. Everybody wants to sit on the throne, but before you actually set in that certain degree, you have to sit down and learn. Sit down and learn. Like I said, sit down and take a breather, take a step back, take your mind out of the world. And it's always a pull. It's always something that wants to yank you back into the presence of wickedness. We all go through it, but it's always about hacking down those demons, man. Hacking the demons down in your mind, because that's where the first battle starts. It's a war of the mind. Lord will not do a lesson on that. You and your one-on-one fight within yourself, the two extremes. The two poles that you fight, the positive and the negative within one spirit, and you can't let the negative outweigh the positive, or it's going to fully demonize you and fully control you. That's why it tells you in Sirach also, blessed is he whose conscience have not condemned him. All right. So you don't want to fall into damnation, but you want to overcome these demons that you're going through. And a lot of times it takes listening to brethren, and sometimes just reading, or sometimes just not doing. The Scripture says your strength is to be still. Just chill, and wait for opportunity to open up unto you. Don't try to force the course of the river, which that, of course, that's scripture too. You know, because a lot of men try to force their entry into whatever they're trying to involve in, and they see that the outcome is very sloppy. Going back to, like I said, technique, the art. Art is a very slow pace. It's a very detailed craft, and it takes time. You know, you don't smudge with the you don't smudge on the canvas. You know, you do your touches. You know, you think out what you want to paint. You know, you got your color layout, of course. You got all, you know how to infuse your colors, know how to get the perfect color to bring out the right emotion in the picture. You see, and you take those elements and you paint it on the canvas for all to see, and then when any individuals view, they'll say, "What a beautiful artwork," you know. And then you know, of course, they appraise it. They see the value of it. You see these different Basquiat's and you know, these artworks. You see they go for multi-millions of dollars, man. You know, and that's the essence of even wisdom. So this is Sirach 37:16. Let reason go before every enterprise and counsel before every action. Right. So you have to deal with reasoning before you actually obtain, which I have the definition that says, and counsel before every action. So even when you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with, you have to take proper counsel. You know, and sometimes you can take counsel, but it has to be sound, and you have to see it works out for you time and time again, and know how to think through strategy and technique. You know, and if certain things are exceed your level of wisdom, what does it say? Put your hand on your mouth and go to a brother. Rely on somebody that's more experienced in a peculiar field. So, like it says, let reason go before every enterprise in Sirach 37:16. An enterprise means a project or undertaking, typically one that is difficult or requires effort. And the best way to overcome a project or undertaking that's difficult and takes a lot of effort is to deal with it with proper technique and strategy, thinking steps ahead. All right. You see these different businessmen and these Fortune 500 companies, they think 100 steps ahead. All right. They look at worst case scenarios. They have all the, you know, as the saying goes, crossing their T's and dotting their I's. They have all their T's crossed and their I's dotted. And they know how to deal with worst case scenarios. They know how to deal with L's. You know, they know how to deal with wins. They know how to invest. They know how to surge their money back into the company and build. You know, they know how to they know what people to put in certain positions. You know, what people not to put in certain positions. And all these different things, all these things come with running a company. And this is the company of Yahweh Shemel Shah. All right. So I just wanted to go into this just thinking steps ahead. You got to think steps ahead. We all have to think steps ahead in these times coming up, you know, especially how bad it's going to get. You know, the walls are going to close in on us as a people. You know, so-called white men is going to come down with great wrath, as it is written in Revelation 12:12. And we have to be ready for that wrath to come. All right, so I want to end by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Shema, Shabbat, Shema, Kakodash, Deban to the Apostle and Elders, Great Millstone. Shalom, Akim.